NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers are planning to hire Mike McCarthy to be their next head coach and now take over the reins for the franchise. Y'all know we're going to talk about it, break it all down, but you got to hear the music first.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
What's going on, NFL fans? Welcome back into another episode of NFL Central, your number one spot for everything NFL. I'm your host here, Bobby, and I'm bringing you the latest around the NFL. Now, we are just hearing from, not too long ago, from Adam Schefter that the Pittsburgh Steelers are planning to hire Pittsburgh's own Mike McCarthy. As we remember, Mike McCarthy is a Super Bowl winning coach who coached for a long time in Green Bay, and that's his last job was with the Dallas Cowboys, to where at one point he had 3 consecutive seasons of going 12-5. Me personally, I did not expect Mike McCarthy to get this job. I'm not going to say it's a bad hire, but I do have some questions, and I do think that hey, there is nothing wrong with going out there and getting an established coach who has proven that he can win in the NFL. And let's remember that during his time in Dallas, though he did not go very far throughout the playoffs, he did have some success, and he did leave on his own terms when him and Jerry Jones failed to come to an agreement on the extension. Some of the questions that I have for Mike McCarthy, though, is can you command this locker room? That's what I'm going to be watching out for. I think he can establish a culture. I think Mike McCarthy can go out there and get the Pittsburgh Steelers going offensively, who have struggled so long to get things going offensively. We know Mike Tomlin was a guy that was pretty much like the CEO, not necessarily the schematic guy. Definitely loved how he did things over there in Pittsburgh, had a long tenure in Pittsburgh, and it's going to be interesting to say the least. I got to be honest with that, to see if Mike McCarthy can, number one, patch up this offensive line who needs more work, go out there and find some skill positions as wide receivers and whatnot, along with the running back room. You do have a really good tight end in Freiermuth. You do have some questions on, your wide receiver room. You do have DK Metcalf, but outside of that, one of the guys that you picked up out of Michigan and Roman Wilson, he has not panned out. So how do you go out there and continue to change this team around to where you can go out there and actually win football games now? That is going to be the number one thing that I'm going to be looking at on the offensive side of the ball. For the defensive side of the ball, how do you go out there and ensure how your defense is going to operate moving forward? We seen this season that the pass rush was there. TJ Watt did suffer an injury, but your defensive backfield, let's just keep it real, they were old out there. They were old out there, and they gave up some plays. They did get much better as the season went on, but ultimately it does need some work. My number one question for the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, though, is how much runway are you going to give Mike McCarthy to move this team forward? That's the number one thing I'm going to be looking out for. How much runway are you going to give them? Because you still don't have a quarterback. We just mentioned work that needs to be done in the wide receiver room and a defensive back room and the running back room. So what is going to be the plan to go out there and find a quarterback that is going to help you win football games? Because Mike McCarthy came from an organization in Green Bay where he had Aaron Rodgers, and then he went to an organization in Dallas who had Dak Prescott. Right now, the only quarterbacks that are available in Pittsburgh right now, as it currently stands, is Mason Rudolph and Will Howard. Exactly. So we're going to have to figure out some things when it comes down to that. And what is going to be the runway that Pittsburgh is going to give Mike McCarthy to change things around? Is it more than 5 years? Is it a 5-year wait and see how it's all going to go? Yeah, so we shall see. there have been some rumblings for former Pittsburgh players who have come out and pretty much said that, hey, give Will Howard a try. And I'm with that. But ultimately, I think in this draft, you still have to go out there and take a swing and possibly draft another quarterback just to see if you can go out there and develop him in that regard. The good thing is for the quarterback room is that you have Mason Rudolph. He's not going to go out there and light the world on fire, but he can go out there and potentially help you win some football games or keep you from being terrible like we've seen the Cleveland Browns this year outside of their defense. So they have some options to run with. They have some things that they can run with. And we'll see how they go out there and adjust. One thing I don't want to see is you guys be forced to bring Aaron Rodgers back. I want to know what the hell that's about because that's already been floated out there that, hey, if we can get Aaron Rodgers for one more year, he can run with Mike McCarthy and we can go for it. No, you don't need to do that. You need to go out there and try to build this thing back up. The good thing is for Mike McCarthy, he has an organization that is organizationally in structure. The owner is good, the GM is good, and now you hope that Mike McCarthy, under this type of tutelage, under this type of situation, can go out there and bring the Pittsburgh Steelers back to where they once were. And that is a competent team that can win playoff games, that can compete within the AFC North, that can go out there and try to compete for a championship. The good thing is, as me and Steve-O talked about it yesterday, this is an organization that is not bad for a very long time. That's a good thing. So I will say this. If you can find yourself a way or opportunity to go out there and say, hey, this year, we don't need to go out there and win 10 games, but let's just win about 7 to where in 2027, we can have a good enough draft selection to where then where the expectation is of the draft being more quarterback friendly or more so than this year in 2026, then we can go out there and strike gold. But I still will encourage the Pittsburgh Steelers to give Will Howard a shot. You know what I'm saying? We looked at that, the pathway of the Green Bay Packers and what they've done, going with Brett Favre, drafting Aaron Rodgers, having them sit behind Brett Favre, and then doing the same thing with Jordan Love sitting behind Aaron Rodgers. What if Will Howard can come out and provide you with something? I think this is an opportunity to see what Will Howard can do. He is from Ohio State. He does come from a winning type of situation. Maybe him sitting behind Aaron Rodgers wasn't such a bad thing. Now he's going to be able to understand the NFL a little bit more. Now he's going to be able to go out there and potentially perform at a high level. But the thing is that we just don't know right now. Another thing that I'm going to be interested in when it comes to Mike McCarthy is how do you draft up or hire your staff? Who's going to be your OC? Who's going to be your DC to take advantage of the players that you have defensively? Because you have Darren Harmon, who you picked up out of Oregon. You have Cam Hayward. You have TJ Watt. And those guys are ready to fucking win. They are ready to win. They want to win. And then as your offensive coordinator, but I would imagine that Mike McCarthy will continue to call plays like he has done throughout his entire career. What type of situation are you going to be able to draft up to help this team become a force in the AFC North? You know what I'm saying? Because you're looking at teams like the Baltimore Ravens who just picked up Jesse Minter. And in that situation, that looks like it's a really good thing for the Baltimore Ravens. They go with the defensive guy. The Pittsburgh Steelers switch their mentality, which is surprising. I did not expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to switch their mentality up. Me personally, I thought that they were going to go after Brian Flores, but ultimately they went in the direction of Mike McCarthy, a proven head coach. What is his level? I don't know yet. That's all going to be predicated on how they structure this team moving forward. I would imagine that he will be there for quite some time. I would imagine that they are going to go out there and support him at their fullest strength, and we'll see what happens and see how that goes along as time moves on. They got a lot of work to do. I'm pretty sure now that Mike McCarthy is in the building, he's about to get to work. Now focus on the combine. Now focus on scouting. Now focus on the draft. And then we'll talk about the season as it gets closer and closer. But the number one question for them is always going to be the quarterback position. We shall see. But hey, that is it for me, y'all. Just wanted to bring you all the latest news regarding that's happening in the NFL. We have some more things coming on later. I'm pretty sure of it. And I appreciate y'all. Make sure you always love football. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks